portal collapsed again. Seraya staggered backwards as the opening vanished in front of her. For a moment, neither of them moved. Cassian stood several paces away, breathing heavily. They had tried everything. Goliath, the Union fleet, sky and sand, Auralis, even worlds far beyond Fort Gillian. Nothing. Each attempt began the same way. A shimmer, a glimpse of somewhere beyond. Then the opening folded in on itself and disappeared. Seraya closed her eyes. She could feel the portal network. Barely. Something remained beneath the suppression, a connection that refused to disappear completely. Cassian watched her. Again, Seraya opened her eyes. Not Goliath. Cassian frowned. She looked towards him. Lumina. He understood immediately. Of all the worlds connected by the ancient gates, Lumina was different. It had been the heart of the network, and since Seraya's return as the Eternal Ember, her connection to it had become something deeper. If there was anywhere her power might answer, it was there. Cassian stepped beside her. They had tried separately. This time they would not. Seraya reached forward. Nothing happened. She concentrated. A faint line of light appeared in the air. It flickered, almost vanished. Cassian reached towards it. His own power joined hers. The line widened slowly, painfully. The portal fought them with every movement. Its edges shook violently. For a fraction of a second, another world appeared beyond it. White stone, light. Then it collapsed. Seraya cried out and stumbled. Cassian caught her. The portal reduced to a narrow line, but did not disappear. Hold it. Cassian planted his feet. Both hands reached towards the opening. The line widened again, centimeters. Then more. The air around them began to distort. Seraya stepped forward. Her hands shook with the effort. Lumina appeared beyond the opening. Once more. This time clearly. Cassian looked at her. Neither needed to speak. They pushed together. The portal tore open. Not cleanly. Not with the effortless precision either chosen was accustomed to. Its edges twisted and fractured. The opening shuddered violently. But it was open. Seraya stepped towards it. The portal immediately began to contract. Go. Cassian held it. Seraya passed through. For one terrible moment, the opening almost closed around her. Cassian forced it wider, then followed. The portal collapsed behind him. Silence. Seraya fell to her knees. Cassian landed heavily beside her. For several seconds, neither moved. Then Seraya looked up. Lumina. The ancient world stretched around them, still untouched. For the first time since the suppression had begun, Seraya felt something different, not freedom. The pressure remained, but here, something was answering, faintly, like a voice heard through a wall. She slowly stood. Cassian felt it too. Better? Seraya looked over the meadow, where the prime gate had once stood, stronger. She raised her hand. A portal began to form. For an instant, darkness appeared within it. Then stars, the shape of something enormous. Goliath. Seraya pushed harder, attempting to reach the bridge. The image flickered, collapsed, nothing. She lowered her hand. Cassian tried. His portal barely formed before disappearing. They looked at one another. Lumina had helped, but not enough. Seraya looked towards the empty space, where Goliath had appeared for only a fraction of a second. Far beyond Lumina, the Union fleet was surrounding Forte Gillian, and they had no way to reach it. No way to know what was happening. No way to warn them. For now, two of the most powerful chosen in the galaxy were stranded on the world where their power should have been strongest, and somewhere far away, Goliath continued towards Forte Gillian. The falling starblade came down. Inferno saw it move. There was no portal, no power, no escape. Geshi had finished teaching. Now he intended to kill. The blue blade cut through the air towards Inferno's neck. A communicator sounded. Geshi stopped. The edge of the sword hung barely above Inferno's shoulder. For several seconds, neither moved. Inferno looked at the blade, then slowly towards the old master. Geshi lowered the sword. He turned away. Inferno remained on the floor, bloodied and exhausted, watching in disbelief as the man who had been about to decapitate him simply walked away. Geshi returned to his chair. He sat. The sword rested across his knees. The communicator sounded again. He answered. A voice delivered a short report. Geshi listened without interruption. When it finished, his eyes moved towards Inferno. Interesting. Inferno said nothing. For once, Geshi considered the information. 3 chosen. In one day, one lay beaten on the floor before him. The other 2 had last been reported aboard the enormous Union flagship now approaching Forte Gillian. Cassian, Seraya, Geshi looked almost contemplated. For generations, the Order had watched the Chosen, studied them, feared what they could become. Now 3 of them had placed themselves within his reach. Geshi raised the communicator. Our last report placed Cassian and Seraya aboard the largest Union vessel. A brief response came back. Geshi looked towards Inferno. Destroy it. He ended the transmission. No speech, no celebration, just an order. Inferno wiped blood from his mouth. Friends of yours? Geshi ignored him. He settled back into the chair. The falling star sword remained across his knees. Inferno looked at it, then at the old man. He had been seconds from death. Perhaps less. But nothing had changed. His powers were still gone. His body was battered, and Geshi had not spared him. He had simply found something else to kill first. Far above them, hidden within the defenses of Forte Gillian, the Helios weapon received its command. Systems awakened. Power began to build. Ancient mechanisms moved around a weapon that had never before been fired in anger. Targeting systems reached into space. Searching. Beyond the asteroid, the Union fleet continued its approach. Dozens of vessels, cruisers, carriers, battleships, and among them, 2 ships larger than almost anything surrounding them. One was Goliath, the other, Titan. The targeting system began to choose. Kaelis reached the docking levels at speed. Behind her came Commodore Mills and several of his pirates. They had stopped fighting. For now. There was no agreement between them. No alliance. Only a common destination. Dorn. Ahead, the silver hull of Duelist waited in its berth. Kaelis crossed the docking bay and boarded without slowing. Mills followed. So did his pirates. She didn't stop them. There wasn't time. The boarding doors closed. Systems came alive beneath her hands, engines powered, docking clamps released. Duelist pulled free of Forte Gillian. Then accelerated. Hard. Aboard Ramses, Dorn stood on the bridge. For the first time since entering the prison, he had stopped running. They were away. Not safe, but away. Behind him, Ky-Nair had been laid carefully on the floor. The keeper knelt beside him. Tarek remained close. The old monk's condition was worsening. His breathing had become shallow and irregular. Occasionally his eyes opened, then closed again. Dorn looked towards him. Whatever had been done to Ky-Nair, time was becoming important. A warning sounded. One of the pirates looked towards his instruments. Captain. Dorn sighed. What now? Ship leaving Gillian. A marker appeared behind them. Fast. Closing. Dorn recognized the vessel immediately. Duelist. Another reading appeared. The pirate looked towards him. She's accelerating. Dorn stared at the display. He didn't need to ask who was aboard. Kaelis. Duelist continued gaining. Ramses was fast, exceptionally fast for a ship of her size. But Duelist was smaller, lighter, and already being pushed to her limits. Dorn leaned forward, more power. We're already at maximum safe. Dorn looked at him. The pirate returned his attention to the controls. Ramses accelerated. On the bridge of Goliath, the tactical picture changed again. Admiral. Maki turned. Another vessel has departed Forte Gillian. The display expanded. Ramses was moving away from the asteroid. Now a second ship was following rapidly. Maki recognized the profile from previous encounters. Duelist. Yes, Admiral. He studied the two vessels. The situation made increasingly little sense. Ramses had been stolen, taken to Forte Gillian. Now, she appeared to be fleeing it, and Duelist was pursuing her. Communications? Neither vessel is responding. Maki looked towards Forte Gillian. The asteroid? Still nothing useful. The Admiral's expression hardened. Too many things were happening at once, and he understood almost none of them. Maintain tracking. The officer nodded. Do not engage. Maki watched Duelist closing on Ramses. Not until we know what we're looking at. Kaelis pushed Duelist harder. The gap narrowed. Mills stood several meters behind her. His pirates had taken positions around the bridge. None had been invited. Kaelis ignored them. Ramses grew larger ahead. Mills looked towards the display. You're going to catch him. No response. Another few seconds. The distance continued falling. Mills folded his arms. And then, Kaelis activated the weapons. Mills raised an eyebrow that answered part of the question. Aboard Goliath. Admiral. Maki turned again. The tactical officers stared at his instruments. Duelist is bringing weapons online. Target? The officer checked, then looked up. Ramses. Maki stared at him. Ramses? Confirmed. For several seconds, the Admiral said nothing. A pirate vessel had just launched from Fort Gillian. It was now chasing a stolen Union battleship and preparing to fire on it. Maki looked back towards the display. What the hell is going on over there? Nobody could answer. Duelist fired. The first blast passed above Ramses. The second struck her shields. The bridge shook. Dorn caught himself against the command console. Return fire? Dorn looked towards the weapons officer, then back at the approaching ship. No. Another blast struck. Ramses rolled away. Duelist followed. Dorn knew what Kaelis wanted. She wasn't trying to destroy them. She was forcing them to react. Forcing Ramses to slow. Forcing herself closer. The next shot passed across the bow. Dorn watched the distance fall. She's coming aboard? The keeper looked up from Ky-Nair. Tarek stood. Dorn turned towards them. Stay with him. He drew his pistol. The keeper noticed. Dorn rarely did that. Duelists swept alongside Ramses. The two vessels raced together through space, meters apart, then closer. Warning alarms sounded across both ships. Kaelis held the smaller vessel steady, the hulls aligned. A boarding mechanism extended. Contact. Metal struck metal. The impact shook both vessels. Clamps locked. Pressure seals formed. Kaelis stood. Ky-Nair's original sword of the falling star remained at her side. Mills watched her cross the bridge. "You're going over there?" Kaelis didn't answer. The boarding connection confirmed atmosphere. She reached the door. Mills looked towards the pirates around him, then back towards her. The door opened. Kaelis stepped through. It closed behind her. For a few seconds, Commodore Mills simply stared at it. Then his attention moved elsewhere, around the bridge, across the controls towards the weapons station. Then the engines. One of his pirates noticed. "Commodore." Mills looked towards him, then towards the closed boarding door. Kaelis was gone. Dorn was aboard Ramses, and they were standing on the bridge of Duelist. Mills smiled, only slightly. "Detach us." The pirate hesitated. "From Ramses?" Mills sat in the command chair. That would generally be what detach means. The pirate grinned, clamps released, Duelists separated from Ramses. Mills settled back into the chair. He looked around once more. A very fine ship. Kaelis entered Ramses alone. The internal door opened. Dorn was waiting, pistol lowered at his side. The keeper stood further back, staff extended. Tarek remained beside Ky-Nair. Kaelis stopped. Her attention went immediately to the old monk. Ky-Nair lay on the floor, barely conscious. His face had lost almost all color. His breathing was becoming weaker. Then his eyes opened. He saw Kaelis, and then the sword at her side. His sword, the original sword of the falling star. For a moment, Something passed between them. Recognition. History. Neither spoke. Dorn stepped between them. You really don't know when to stop, do you? Kaelis looked at him. Behind her, the boarding indicator changed. Duelist had detached. She turned towards it. Then back towards Dorn. He smiled. Looks like Mills does. On Goliath, the tactical officer blinked. Admiral. Mackie was beginning to dislike that word. What? Duelist has detached from Ramses. Mackie looked towards the display. The two vessels were separating. And a pause. Duelist has changed course. Mackie stared. Ramses continued away from Forte Gillian. Duelist was now moving independently. No longer attacking. No longer pursuing. Mackie looked from one marker to the other, then towards the asteroid. None of this made any sense. Try them again. Communications transmitted. Nothing. Mackie shook his head. Keep watching. Far behind them, Forte Gillian changed. Sections of its armored surface began to move. Massive protective structures withdrew into the asteroid. Something ancient rose from beneath them. Something the Union had never seen. The tactical officer aboard Goliath noticed the energy surge first. Admiral. Mackie turned. This time there was something different in the man's voice. Energy buildup on Forte Gillian. Mackie moved towards the tactical station. Weapon? Unknown. The reading climbed and climbed across the Union fleet. Sensors turned towards the asteroid. Targeting systems attempted to identify what was emerging. They failed. The Helios cannon rotated. Deep within the weapon, falling star steel began to glow. Energy poured through it, amplified, focused, directed. The weapon searched the Union formation. Its targeting system moved across cruisers, carriers, destroyers. Then, a battleship. Massive, heavily armed. Traveling near the front of the formation, the weapon stopped, locked, aboard Goliath. Warning systems erupted. Admiral, massive energy spike! Mackie looked towards Forte Gillian. For the first time, he saw it. A point of blue-white light burning against the asteroid's surface. All ships defensive. Helios fired. The light crossed space almost instantly. It passed Goliath. Mackie turned towards the forward view. The beam struck Titan. For one impossible second, nothing happened. Then a glowing line appeared through the center of the enormous battleship. From one side of the hull to the other, the line widened. Titan came apart. Not an explosion, not at first. The ship simply separated. Two enormous sections drifted away from one another. Atmosphere erupted into space. Internal explosions followed. Debris spread outward. Smaller vessels scattered desperately from its path. The bridge of Goliath fell silent. Mackie stared. Around him, nobody moved. Nobody seemed capable of it. One of the largest battleships in the Union fleet had been destroyed with a single shot. And on the bridge of Ramses, Dorn and Kaelis watched it happen together. Neither spoke. The two halves of Titan burned against the darkness. Dorn's pistol remained lowered at his side. For now. For now. Deep inside Fort Gillian, the smith was still searching, alone now. Dorn was gone. The prisoners were gone. The sensible choice had disappeared with them. He knew that. He had known it when Dorn gave him the choice. Leave or stay. There had never really been a choice. His child was somewhere inside Fort Gillian. So he continued. Corridor after corridor, door after door, every chamber that might have been used to hold a prisoner. Every stairway leading deeper into the asteroid. Nothing. He moved quickly, keeping away from the main passages. The alarms helped. Fort Gillian was in confusion. Pirates moved towards docking levels. Monks moved in the opposite direction. Orders contradicted one another. Nobody seemed entirely certain who was in control anymore. For once, being unnoticed was useful. The smith reached another junction. Stopped. Listened. Voices. He waited until they passed. Then continued. Where are you? No answer. He hadn't expected one. He turned another corner. Then, Fort Gillian moved. Not an explosion. Something deeper. A tremendous mechanical concussion traveled through the asteroid. The floor jumped beneath his feet. The smith was thrown against the wall. Lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere far above him, metal groaned against stone. Then came a sound, low, immense, a vibration that seemed to pass through his bones. The smith froze. He knew that sound better than almost anyone. He had helped create what had just made it. Helios! They had fired it. For several seconds, he simply stood there, horror slowly replacing confusion. He knew what the weapon was capable of. He knew what falling star steel had done to its output. And somewhere outside Fort Gillian, something had just been on the receiving end. The smith closed his eyes. This was his work, not willingly, not by choice, but his hands had built it. Another alarm began somewhere nearby. He opened his eyes. His child, that was all that mattered now. He pushed himself away from the wall and continued, faster, calling quietly as he moved, searching every doorway, every chamber, every darkened passage. Behind him, Fort Gillian settled from the recoil of the weapon. For a few moments, everything became still again. The smith knew better. Helios had fired once, which meant it could fire again. The two halves of Titan continued to drift apart. Across the Union fleet, smaller vessels scattered from the expanding field of debris. On the bridge of Goliath, silence. Maki stared at what remained of the battleship. Hundreds of meters of armor, weapons, engines, thousands of lives, gone in seconds. Then the Admiral returned. Shield report. The bridge came alive. Officers looked down at their stations. Readings were checked. 97%, Admiral. Maki turned towards the tactical display. Goliath was almost untouched. The fleet was not. Titan's destruction had thrown the formation into chaos. All vessels, break formation. Orders moved immediately across the fleet. Increase separation. Do not give that weapon another concentrated target. Ships began moving apart. Cruisers rolled away from the debris. Carriers altered course. Destroyers accelerated clear. Maki looked towards Fort Gillian. The weapon remained visible against the asteroid's surface. Target, bat, emplacement. Weapons officers responded. Goliath's batteries rotated across the fleet, targeting systems locked onto the Helios cannon. Admiral, Gillian's defensive batteries are coming online. Maki expected that. Return fire only on confirmed military targets. He looked towards the tactical display. Keep civilian sectors out of every firing solution. The order spread through the fleet. Then another warning appeared. The officer at the sensor station went pale. Admiral, Maki turned. The weapon is charging again. The bridge became quiet, not like before. This time, everyone knew what that meant. Maki looked towards the shield display. 97%! Then towards the Helios cannon. Time to firing? Unknown. The energy reading climbed fast. Maki didn't hesitate. All batteries, fire! Goliath opened fire. The darkness erupted. Dozens of weapons discharged from the enormous battleship. Across the Union formation, other vessels joined her. Energy, fire crossed space towards Fort Gillian. The asteroid's defensive systems answered. For the first time, the Battle of Fort Gillian began. Aboard Ramses, Dorn watched the exchange. Union fire filled the space around the asteroid. Fort Gillian answered. Kaelis stood several meters away. Neither was looking at the other anymore. Tarek stared through the bridge windows. The Keeper remained beside Ky-Nair. The old monk barely seemed aware of what was happening. Then the warning sounded. The same energy signature. Dorn looked towards Fort Gillian. The blue-white light was returning. Kaelis saw it too. Her expression changed. She knew. It's firing again. Dorn looked at her. There was no satisfaction in her voice. No triumph. Only recognition. On Goliath, energy spike! Maki saw the light. Brace! Helios fired. The beam crossed the battlefield straight towards Goliath. It struck the forward shields. For the smallest fraction of a second, they held. The entire ship became surrounded by blue-white light. Shield strength collapsed. 97, 70, 40, 12, 0. The beam continued. It punched through Goliath's forward armor, through decks, through bulkheads, through the heart of the largest warship in the Union fleet. The bridge lurched violently. Officers were thrown from their stations. Alarms screamed. Maki hit the command rail and held on. The lights failed, returned, failed again. Across the tactical display, entire sections of Goliath disappeared. Then came the secondary explosions. Deep inside the ship, something ruptured. The deck moved beneath Maki. He looked towards the forward windows. For one final moment. Admiral Maki saw the Union fleet. Then Goliath came apart. The explosion consumed the battleship from within. Armor plates the size of buildings were thrown into space. Engines separated from the hull. The forward section disappeared inside a sphere of fire. Debris expanded across the battlefield. Pieces of Goliath struck nearby vessels. One destroyer was torn open. Another rolled helplessly away. Fragments of Titan collided with the expanding wreckage. Two of the greatest ships the Union had ever built became one enormous field of burning metal. Aboard Ramses, nobody spoke. Dorn stared at the space where Goliath had been. The Keeper slowly stood. Tarek's face had gone blank. Even Kaelis seemed unable to look away. Goliath was gone. Dorn lowered his head. For several seconds, the bridge contained only the distant sounds of alarms and the weak breathing of Ky-Nair. Then Dorn looked at Kaelis. Something had changed. Whatever arrangement had existed between them, whatever debt, whatever agreement, was finished. Dorn raised his pistol. Kaelis looked at it, then at him. The weapon pointed directly at her chest. Dorn's voice was quiet. Enough. Kaelis didn't move. Dorn looked towards his crew. Take her. For half a second, nobody reacted. Then the pirates moved. Kaelis reached towards her sword. 3 weapons immediately pointed at her. The Keeper stepped forward. His staff extended. Tarek drew one of the captured falling star blades. Kaelis stopped. She looked around the bridge, outnumbered, surrounded, and for the first time, alone. 2 pirates seized her arms. Another removed Ky-Nair's sword from her side. Kaelis watched it leave her hand. Dorn held out his own. The pirates gave him the weapon. Dorn looked at the blue blade. Then towards Ky-Nair. He placed it beside the old monk, where it belonged. Kaelis watched silently. Dorn turned back towards her. His eyes dropped to the device she carried, the portal blocker. He pointed. Take that, too. Kaelis' composure finally broke. Dorn, the pirates removed it. You don't understand. Dorn stared at the device, then through the bridge windows at the burning remains of Goliath and Titan. I understand enough. Kaelis pulled against the pirates holding her. If you destroy that. Dorn took the portal blocker. For a moment he simply held it, a small machine. Something that had caused an extraordinary amount of trouble. He looked towards the Keeper. Then Ky-Nair. Then Kaelis. What happens? Kaelis didn't answer. Dorn smiled without humor. Thought so. He dropped it onto the deck. Kaelis' eyes widened. Dorn raised his pistol. Fired. The portal blocker shattered. Deep beneath Fort Gillian, Geshiroshi looked down. The matching device went dark across the chamber. Inferno felt something. On Lumina, Seraya stopped. Cassian turned towards her. The pressure vanished, completely. For the first time since Fort Gillian, the universe opened. Aboard Ramses, Kaelis closed her eyes. She knew exactly what Dorn had done, and exactly who he had just released. Deep beneath the asteroid, Inferno slowly lifted his head. Blood covered his face. His body was battered, broken. But behind him, space began to bend. A thin line appeared in the air. Then another. Inferno looked up, his eyes burning crimson. The old master stared back. For the first time since their fight began, Roshi's expression changed. Inferno smiled. There you are. Inferno stood, slowly. His body carried the damage of everything Geshe had done to him. Blood ran from his mouth. His breathing remained painful, but his eyes burned crimson. The old master watched from across the chamber. The dead portal blocker hung uselessly at his side. For the first time since Inferno had been brought to Forte Gillian, there was nothing between the Chosen and his power. Geshe tightened his grip on the falling star sword. Inferno raised one hand. Dark energy erupted from it. The blast crossed the chamber. Geshe brought the sword up. Impact. Blue light exploded from the blade. The force drove him backwards across the stone, but the sword held. Inferno's crimson eyes settled upon it. Another blast followed. Stronger! Again, the falling star steel met it. Dark energy broke around the blade, tearing chunks from the walls on either side. Geshe was driven backwards, but remained standing. Inferno raised both hands. This time, the chamber disappeared inside darkness. A wall of black energy crashed forward. Geshe planted his feet. The sword blazed blue. Darkness struck. Falling star steel. The impact shook the chamber. Stone fractured. Dust fell from above. For several seconds, the old master vanished inside the attack. Then the darkness cleared. Geshe remained, bent forward, breathing heavily, but alive! The blade still glowed in his hands. Inferno stared at it. Geshe straightened, then attacked. The old master crossed the chamber with extraordinary speed. The sword swept towards Inferno's chest. A portal opened. The blade passed through empty space. Inferno appeared several meters away. Dark energy struck Geshe from behind. He stumbled, turned. Another blast came. The sword intercepted it. Blue light flashed. Inferno disappeared again. Another portal, another angle, another attack! Geshe turned between them, blocking, moving, refusing to fall. A blast came from his left, blocked. Another from behind, avoided. A portal opened above him. Dark energy crashed down. Geshe rolled clear. Stone exploded where he had stood. Inferno emerged from another opening. Geshe was already moving. The falling star blade swept upwards. Inferno opened a portal. Too late. The tip of the sword caught him across the chest. He disappeared, reappeared several meters away, and stopped. Silence. Geshe raised the sword again. Inferno looked down. A thin line had opened across his chest. Blood appeared. For several seconds, he simply stared at it. looked at the blood on his fingers, then raised his eyes. The crimson glow intensified. Something changed. The darkness surrounding his hands did not disappear. It spread. Black energy climbed his arms, across his shoulders, around his body. Not like flame, not like smoke. Something between the two. Something that seemed to consume the light around it. Inferno's outline began to disappear. Darkness folded around him. His clothes, his skin, his face, until only fragments of the man beneath remained visible. And his eyes, 2 points of crimson burning within blackness. Geshi's expression changed. He had studied the Chosen for generations. Studied Safin, studied Spire, studied every account the Order had preserved. But this was different. Inferno had not simply learned to command darkness. Darkness was part of him, created within it, born from it. And now, it was awake. Geshi slowly adjusted his stance. The falling star sword glowed brighter in his hands. For the first time since their confrontation began, the old master appeared uncertain. He looked at the thing standing before him. There it is. Him said nothing. The chamber went black. Geshi barely raised the sword in time. The impact was enormous. Dark energy struck the blade and lifted him from his feet. He flew across the chamber, hit the stone, rolled. The sword remained in his hand. Another attack came immediately. Geshi blocked from the floor. Blue light erupted. He was driven backwards. A third blast, then another. There was no pause between them now. No testing, no amusement. Geshi forced himself upright. The sword moved desperately from one attack to another. Darkness came from every direction. A portal opened behind him. He turned. Another opened to his right. Then above. Then beneath. The chamber became impossible. Every direction led back to Inferno. Every opening carried darkness. Geshi struck at one. Empty. Turned towards another. Too slow. A blast hit him across the shoulder and spun him around. Another struck his chest. He crashed into the wall. The falling star sword slipped from his hand. It struck the floor. Geshi reached for it. A portal opened beneath the blade. The sword fell through. Another portal opened high above the chamber. The weapon emerged and dropped. It struck the stone far beyond his reach. Geshi looked towards it, then back. Inferno walked towards him, slowly. Darkness moved around his body with every step. Geshi forced himself to stand. No sword, no portal blocker, no advantage. Still, he raised his hands. Inferno stopped. For a moment, the two simply faced one another. The ancient master of the Order of the Night, and the Chosen his order had tried to erase. Geshi attacked. Inferno caught his fist. The movement stopped instantly. Geshi tried to pull free. He couldn't. Inferno looked down at the hand he held, then into the old master's eyes. No smile, no joke. He twisted. Geshi cried out. Inferno struck him once. The old master staggered. Another strike sent him backwards. Geshi tried to recover. Darkness wrapped around his body and threw him across the chamber. He hit the floor hard. Inferno followed. Geshi pushed himself onto one knee. Blood ran from his mouth now. He looked up. The crimson eyes were reproaching. He had wanted to see what a chosen was without power. Now, he was seeing what Inferno was with all of it. Geshi reached for the distant sword. Far, too far away. Inferno stopped before him. Darkness gathered around the chamber. Portals began to open, one, then another. Geshi looked around. Inferno remained silent. The lesson had changed hands. On Lumina, Seraya stopped. The pressure was gone. She raised her hand. A portal opened instantly. Perfectly. Cassian felt it too. Their powers had returned. Seraya immediately searched for Goliath. A portal opened. Empty space. She tried again. Nothing. Then another opening formed, and the battlefield appeared. Chaos. Union vessels scattered around Fort Gillian. Weapons fire across the darkness. Burning debris drifted between ships. Seraya moved the portal, searching. A huge section of wreckage passed across the opening. Union markings. Then another. Cassian stepped closer. There was no Goliath. Only an enormous debris field where the flagship should have been. For a moment, neither spoke. Then, a colossal beam of blue-white energy tore across the portal. Seraya recoiled. The light vanished almost as quickly as it had appeared, disappearing somewhere beyond their view. Cassian stared after it. What was that? Seraya shook her head. She had no idea. Whatever had destroyed Goliath. The battle wasn't over. Cassian looked through the portal. Find Ramses. Seraya changed the opening. It swept across the battlefield. Ships, fire, debris. Then Ramses. Still intact. Cassian stared at their stolen battleship. They had spent long enough trapped and powerless. Not anymore. We're taking her back. Seraya looked beyond Ramses, towards Fort Gillian. And then, Cassian's expression hardened. We end this. The portal widened. Cassian stepped through. Seraya followed. Two chosen entered the battle of Fort Gillian. Ramses rowed hard. The battleship rotated onto her side as another enormous beam of blue-white energy tore past. Helios missed by meters. The light filled the bridge, then vanished into space. Again. Dorn gripped the command rail. Ramses rolled in the opposite direction. Engines fired at maximum thrust. For a vessel of her size, the movement was extraordinary. Another Helios blast crossed behind her. Too close. The shock of its passage rattled the ship. Dorn looked towards the tactical display. The weapon was tracking them. Keep us moving! The pirate at the controls didn't need telling twice. Ramses dived beneath the wreckage of a Union cruiser, rolled through the debris field and accelerated away. Another blast. Ramses twisted aside. The beam passed across her bow. On the bridge, Kaelis watched in silence. Her own people were firing at them. Could no longer be any doubt. Beside her, the keeper held onto the unconscious Ky-Nair. Tarek braced himself against the deck. Appeared directly on the bridge. Dorn looked towards it. Oh, come on. Cassian stepped through. Seraya followed. The portal closed for a moment. Everyone stared at everyone else. Dorn, Kaelis, restrained by pirates. The keeper. Cassian, Seraya. Then Ramses rolled violently again. Everyone grabbed for something. Another Helios beam tore past the ship. Cassian looked towards the bridge windows. That's what we saw. Dorn nodded. Yes. Seraya barely heard them. He had seen someone else. On the floor. Ky-Nair? The keeper looked at her. Seraya crossed the bridge immediately. She dropped beside the old monk. His breathing was weak, his face pale, far too pale. Seraya touched him. Her expression changed. Whatever triumph there might have been in finally reaching Ramses disappeared. What happened to him? The keeper looked towards Kaelis. Seraya followed his eyes. Kaelis said nothing. Another warning sounded. Helios was charging again. Dorn looked towards the controls. Whatever you're planning, Chosen. Ramses began another violent turn. I'd suggest doing it quickly. Seraya looked down at Ky-Nair. Then she knew. Lumina. She had just come from the one place where her connection was stronger than anywhere else. And Ky-Nair was running out of time. Seraya knelt beside Ky-Nair. His breathing was fading. She placed a hand against his chest and closed her eyes. There was almost nothing left. The keeper crouched beside them. He looked at Ky-Nair, his friend. Then towards Seraya. Please save my friend. Seraya looked at him. The keeper reached out and placed one hand gently against her cheek. But before you go, I need one favor. Seraya waited. Open a portal for me. Her eyes narrowed. Where? The keeper looked directly into hers. The Great Hunt. Seraya froze. Her pupils widened. Something moved through her. A memory that wasn't hers. A location. Ancient. Distant. Almost beyond reach. At the furthest edges of known space. Something waited. Seraya could see it. She raised her hand. A portal opened. Stars appeared beyond it. Cold, remote, and hanging silently amongst them. An enormous ancient scrapyard. The Keeper stood. His eyes never left hers. "Thank you, Seraya." Then he turned. "Tarik, with me!" Tarik looked from Ky-Nair to the Keeper, then ran. The Keeper stepped through. Tarik followed. The portal closed. They were gone. Seraya immediately turned back to Ky-Nair. There was no time to wonder what the Keeper intended. She opened another portal. Lumina appeared beyond it. Seraya slipped her arms beneath Ky-Nair and tried to lift him. She couldn't. She tried again. Dorn's crew moved without being asked. Hands reached down. Together they lifted the old monk. Seraya took his weight. Slowly, carefully, they helped her towards the portal. Ky-Nair's feet dragged across the deck. His head rested against Seraya's shoulder. She stepped through. Lumina. The portal remained open behind them. The pirates aboard Ramses watched through it as Seraya lowered Ky-Nair carefully onto the ancient stone. For a moment, nobody noticed Kaelis move. She slipped free of those holding her, crossed the bridge, and without saying a word, jumped through the portal. Seraya looked up. Kaelis stood on Lumina. Neither spoke. There wasn't time. Ky-Nair's breathing faltered. Seraya tried to lift him again. Kaelis crossed the distance between them. She crouched, took Ky-Nair's other arm. Seraya looked at her. Kaelis said nothing. Together, they lifted him. The eternal ember and the warrior of the Order of the Night carried Ky-Nair towards the heart of Lumina. Behind them, the portal to Ramses remained open, and Ramses dodged another Helios blast. Above Fort Gillian, duelists joined the battle. Commodore Mills drove the silver vessel hard across the surface of the asteroid. Defensive fire reached towards him. Duelist rolled beneath it and answered. Her weapon struck one of Gillian's gun emplacements. The installation disappeared beneath an explosion. Union vessels swept overhead. For perhaps the first time in Fort Gillian's history, Pirates and the Union were firing in the same direction. Mills opened a channel. "Trick, how are things inside?" Gunfire could be heard behind the reply, getting louder. Mills smiled. That sounded promising. In Fort Gillian, Captain Trick led his pirate through the docking levels. The Order had controlled these corridors only minutes earlier. Not anymore. Pirates appeared from workshops, ships, and hidden passages. Weapons came with them. Hard. But this was no longer an occupation. It was an uprising. Fort Gillian was taking itself back. Duelist banked sharply. Another defensive emplacement fired. Mills rolled away and returned fire. Then he noticed something on the tactical display. Ramses, still moving, still very much stolen. Mills smiled. He opened another channel. Aboard Ramses, Dorn's communicator sounded. He answered while watching the battle. Mills appeared, looking remarkably comfortable. Dorn then at the unmistakable bridge surrounding him. Mills grinned. "I love your old ship." Dorn looked around the bridge of Ramses, then back at Mills. "Yeah, I've upgraded." The transmission ended. Mills laughed. Then an alarm sounded. The smile disappeared. He looked towards the tactical display. Something enormous was moving on Fort Gillian. The Helios cannon. Slowly, the weapon began to rotate. Mills watched it. The targeting structure moved away from the remains of the Union formation. Past Ramses, past the surviving cruisers, then continued turning towards it. Mills stared at the display. Oh. Duelist warning systems erupted. Oh shit! Helios had acquired a new target. Commodore Mills. Lumina was silent. Far across the galaxy, the Battle of Forte Gillian raged. But here, there was only stillness. Seraya and Kaelis carried Ky-Nair across the ancient ground. With every step, he became heavier between them. His feet dragged across the stone. His breathing had become almost impossible to hear. Seraya stopped. Together, they lowered him carefully to the ground. Kaelis knelt opposite her. For a moment, neither woman spoke. Seraya placed a hand against Ky-Nair's chest. A heartbeat, weak, then another. Too long between them. His eyes opened, barely. They found Seraya first. Then Kaelis. There was no anger in them, no accusation, only exhaustion. Seraya took his hand. "Stay with me." Ky-Nair managed the faintest smile. He had spent a lifetime traveling. The silent gates had carried him across impossible distances. Journeys that lasted moments for him while years passed elsewhere. They had given him a life far longer than nature had intended. But the silent gates were gone and time had finally caught him. Seraya closed her eyes. She searched for something she could heal. There was nothing, no wound, no poison, nothing broken. Ky-Nair was simply reaching the end. Her eyes opened. She looked around. Lumina. She could feel it everywhere. Beneath the stone, across the mountains, through the air. A power that had existed long before the gate that once stood upon this world. The gate had never been the source. It had merely been a doorway. Seraya looked back at her friend, then understood. Ky-Nair. His eyes opened again. "I can save you." He looked at her. Seraya hesitated. "But you won't be the same." The faintest trace of amusement appeared on his face. "That sounds interesting." Seraya laughed softly. She tightened her hand around his, then placed the other against the ground, and reached, not across space, not towards another world into this one. Lumina. For several seconds, nothing happened. Kaelis watched. Then she felt it. A vibration beneath her knees, almost too faint to notice. Seraya felt it too. Something had answered. Light appeared beneath her hand. Not from a machine, not from a gate, from the world itself. It spread through the stone, thin lines at first, then hundreds, thousands, moving away from them in every direction. Across valleys, over distant ridges, into the horizon. As though Ky-Nair itself possessed veins, and for the first time in an age, light was moving through them. Kaelis slowly stood. The sky began to change. Faint ribbons of light appeared high above them. The air seemed charged, alive. Seraya looked at Ky-Nair. "Come on!" The light reached him, his body tensed. He inhaled sharply. Energy moved through his hands, his arms, across his chest. Ky-Nair's back lifted from the ground. Seraya held on to him. The light beneath them intensified, across Lumina. The world answered. Kaelis stared. Everything she had been taught told her to fear what she was seeing. A chosen wielding power beyond anything ordinary beings should possess. Another chosen being created before her eyes. The beginning of everything the Order existed to prevent. But there was no conquest here, no ambition, no demand for obedience. Seraya was crying. She was simply trying to save her friend. Ky-Nair's heartbeat stopped. Seraya felt it. Her eyes opened. No. The light surged. For one terrible moment. Nothing. Then, a heartbeat, powerful. Another. Ky-Nair gasped it deep. Air filled his lungs. Color returned to his face. His fingers tightened around Seraya's hand, and his eyes opened. Lumina burned within them. Not merely light. Something deeper. Fierce, intense white light. For an instant, Kaelis saw the world reflected there. Then the glow softened. Ky-Nair breathed. Slowly, deeply, without pain, Seraya stared at him, then laughed through the tears in her eyes. Ky-Nair looked down at himself and his hands. Then towards the distant horizon, he could feel something. Lumina. Not as Seraya felt it. Not as anyone else could. The world was simply there. Connected to him. And beyond it. Distance. Space. Places he had visited. Places he had never seen. The traveler of the silent gates had spent a lifetime crossing the galaxy through doors that no longer existed. He would never need them again. Ky-Nair slowly sat upright. Seraya helped him. Then, he stood, unaided, not younger, not reborn, still Ky-Nair. The years remained upon his face. Every battle, every journey, every loss. Lumina had not erased his life. It had simply refused to let that life end. Kaelis remained several steps away. She stared at him. Another chosen. She should have been horrified. She should have reached for a weapon. Instead, she remembered the man she had fought on sky and sand, the old monk who had refused to hate her, the man whose sword she had taken, the man she had helped carry here. And now she understood something guess she never had. Power did not decide what someone became. Ky-Nair looked towards her. Their eyes met. Neither spoke. They didn't need to. Seraya stepped beside him. Ky-Nair looked towards Lumina once more. A slight smile appeared. There would be questions, many of them, later. For now, his friends were fighting. He turned towards Seraya. She understood. A portal opened. Beyond it, Ramses. Ky-Nair looked back across Lumina one final time, then stepped towards the opening. The traveler had returned, the monk had survived, and upon the ancient world of Lumina, a new chosen had awakened. Ky-Nair, chosen of Lumina. Deep beneath Fort Gillian, Geshiroshi pushed himself to his feet, slowly, painfully. Across the ruined chamber, Inferno waited. Darkness moved around him. His crimson eyes remained fixed upon the old master. Geshi looked towards the falling star sword, too far away. He looked back at Inferno. For generations, Geshi had prepared for men like him. The Order of the Night had watched the chosen rise, watched Satan fall, watched worlds suffer because individuals possessed power that no individual should ever possess. Geshi had believed completely in the lesson of history. Perhaps he still did. He straightened. Blood ran from his mouth. You think this proves me wrong? Inferno said nothing. Look at yourself. Still nothing. Geshi almost smiled. You are everything we feared. Inferno's head tilted slightly. Then the darkness around him began to recede. Slowly, it withdrew from his shoulders, his arms, his face, until Inferno stood before him again. Bloodied, bruised, crimson eyes still glowing, but recognizably himself. Geshi watched. Inferno finally spoke. You talk too much. Geshi attacked. One final time. He crossed the distance with everything he had left. Inferno didn't move. Geshi's fist came towards him and disappeared. A portal opened between them. Geshi's arm passed through it. Another opening appeared behind him. His own fist emerged into empty space. Inferno stepped aside. Geshi turned. A second portal opened beneath his feet. He jumped backwards. Inferno watched him. No laughter, no games. Geshi realized too late that Inferno wasn't fighting anymore. He was deciding. Two thin lines appeared in the air. One behind Geshi, one in front. Horizontal, parallel. The old master stopped. Inferno raised one hand. The lines expanded. Two portals opened. One just above Geshi's waist. The other just below it. Geshi looked down. For the first time, he understood. He tried to move. Inferno closed his hand. The portals snapped together. Space folded. There was no explosion, no blast of darkness. Just one impossible movement. And Geshiroshi was severed. The upper half of his body disappeared through one opening. The lower through the other. Both portals closed. Silence. Inferno stood alone. The master of the Order of the Night was gone. For several seconds, Inferno didn't move. Then his crimson eyes faded. He looked around the destroyed chamber, at the broken stone, at the dead portal blocker, at the falling star sword lying across the floor. Inferno walked towards it. He picked it up, turned the blue blade once in his hand, then looked towards the doorway. Somewhere beyond it, Fort Gillian was tearing itself apart. Inferno had come here with Dawn. Dawn was gone. Ky-Nair was gone. The Keeper was gone. Everyone. Gone. Inferno frowned. Typical. He rested the falling star sword across his shoulder, then walked out of the chamber. Behind him, nothing remained of Geshe Roshi's lesson. Inferno had learned enough. At the furthest reaches of known space, the great hunt waited, silent, ancient, untouched for longer than either of them could comprehend. Inside, the Keeper and Tarek stood on the enormous bridge. Darkness surrounded them. Then, one light appeared. Another followed. Ancient systems awakened across the consoles. A deep vibration traveled through the ship. Tarek looked around. "You actually know how to fly this?" The Keeper considered the question. "Mostly." Tarek stared at him. "Mostly?" More systems illuminated. Somewhere deep inside the vessel, machinery that had slept for centuries began to turn. The Keeper studied the controls, then pointed. "Engage the Nova Drive, Tarek." Tarek looked at the console, then at the Keeper. How?" The Keeper pointed again. "That big lever, Tarek." Tarek looked down. There was, indeed, a very big lever. He grabbed it. The Keeper settled into the command position. "Come on, we've got a battle to get back to." Tarek pulled. For half a second, nothing. Then the great hunt woke up. Power surged through the ancient flagship. Lights raced across its enormous hull. Engines that had remained cold for centuries ignited. Tarek stared through the forward windows. "Mostly." The Keeper smiled. "Hold on!" The Nova Drive engaged, and the great hunt vanished. Helios fired. Duelist disappeared inside blue-white light. For one terrible moment, Commodore Mills saw nothing. "Move!" Duelist rolled violently. The Helios beam tore across his shields and glanced along the hull. The ship spun away. Alarms erupted across the bridge. Panels exploded. Mills was thrown sideways. Then, darkness. Duelist tumbled through space. Emergency systems activated. One engine reignited, then another. Mills slowly lifted his head. Report. Pirates stared at his instruments, almost surprised they still existed. "We're alive." Mills coughed. "Excellent report." Duelists struggled back under control behind them. Helios began charging again. The portal rippled aboard Ramses. Seraya stepped through first. Kaelis followed. Then, Ky-Nair. The bridge fell silent. Dorn stared at him. The man who had barely been breathing minutes earlier walked through unaided. Ky-Nair stopped. Dorn looked him up and down. "Well, that's new." Ky-Nair smiled. Kaelis noticed something beside the command station. His sword. She walked towards it, picked it up. For a moment, she held the weapon she'd taken from him on sky and sand, then turned. Ky-Nair watched her approach. Kaelis held the sword of the falling star towards him. "I believe this belongs to you." Ky-Nair looked at her, then took it. A small nod, nothing more. Nothing was forgiven, but something had changed. An alarm screamed across the bridge. "Helios!" Seraya turned. Blue-white light erupted from Forte Gillian. The weapon fired. straight towards Ramses. Seraya raised both hands. A portal tore open in front of the battleship. Enormous. The Helios beam disappeared into it. Another portal opened thousands of kilometers away. The blast erupted harmlessly into empty space. Everyone on the bridge stared. Seraya lowered her hands. Dawn blinked. Useful. The Helios cannon began charging again. Cassian looked towards Forte Gillian. Kaelis stared at the weapon her order had created. Dorn looked around the bridge. Seraya, Cassian, Ky-Nair, more chosen than any sensible pirate should ever have aboard one stolen ship. He pointed towards Forte Gillian. Why don't one of you chosen folk portal over there and stop that bloody big gun? Nobody answered, because suddenly, the tactical officer stopped moving. His display had changed. Captain Dorn sighed. What now? The officer stared at the screen. Subspace distortion. Cassian stepped towards him. Where? The officer expanded the display. The distortion was enormous. Far beyond the battle, space itself seemed to bend. Then, something appeared. A vessel. The tactical system attempted to identify it. Failed. Attempted to calculate its dimensions. Failed again. The contact continued growing. And growing. Until the tactical officer's entire display was filled by a single approaching object. Dorn walked towards the station. That's a ship. The officer slowly nodded. Apparently, across the bridge, Ky-Nair smiled. He knew. Kaelis looked towards him. What is it? Ky-Nair's eyes remained fixed upon the impossible contact. The great hunt. Outside, space warped. The ancient flagship emerged. First the bow, then kilometers of armor, weapons, engines. A vessel built in an age when the galaxy had fought something far worse than armies. The great hunt entered normal space and kept coming. Union vessels scattered from its path. Pirate ships stopped firing. Even Forte Gillian's weapons hesitated. On Ramses, the tactical officer zoomed his display out. And again, and again. It made almost no difference. The great hunt had still dominated the screen. Dorn stared for several seconds. The pirate captain said absolutely nothing. Then, he laughed. I want one. Inside Fort Gillian, Inferno walked through chaos. Pirates fought monks across the corridors. Alarms sounded everywhere. Somewhere above, the entire asteroid shuddered as Helios fired again. Inferno barely noticed. He opened a portal, stepped through. Another corridor, empty. Another portal. Another level. Then, he heard something. Crying. Inferno stopped. He looked towards a sealed doorway. The crying came again. Quiet. Frightened. Inferno walked towards it. The door was locked. He looked at the controls, then simply opened a portal through it. On the other side was a small room, and inside, a child. Inferno stared. The child stared back. Neither seemed particularly certain what to do next. Then Inferno remembered. The prisoner, the man in the cell opposite his, the smith. They have my child. Inferno crouched. The crimson glow had gone from his eyes. The darkness was gone. For perhaps the first time that day, he looked almost normal. Your father makes things. The child nodded. Inferno considered this excellent evidence. He He stood. "Come on." The child didn't move. Inferno looked back. "I'm looking for him too." That wasn't entirely true, but apparently he was now. The child cautiously took his hand. Inferno looked down at it, slightly surprised, then opened a portal. The smith was still searching. He ran through another corridor, called again. Nothing. Then a portal opened directly in front of him. He stopped. Inferno stepped through. The smith's eyes widened. Then someone appeared from behind Inferno. Everything else ceased to matter. "Dad!" The smith ran. His child ran towards him. They collided. He dropped to his knees and held on. Inferno stood several meters away, watching. The smith looked up. Tears covered his face. "How did you?" Inferno shrugged. Another tremendous vibration traveled through Forte Gillian. "Helios!" Inferno looked towards the ceiling, then back at them. "We should probably leave." The smith held his child tightly. "Where?" Inferno thought about that. Dorn had disappeared. The keeper had disappeared. Everyone he knew seemed remarkably good at disappearing without him. Then he felt something. Chosen. More than one. Inferno smiled. Found them. A portal opened. Outside Forte Gillian, Helios fired. The beam struck the Great Hunt head-on. Blue-white energy engulfed the ancient flagship. On Ramses, everyone watched. The tactical display vanished beneath interference. For several seconds, the Great Hunt disappeared inside the blast. Then the light cleared. The ship was still there, still approaching. Dorn stared. Oh, Helios began charging again. On the bridge of the Great Hunt, Tarek looked at the damage display. "That hit us." The keeper nodded. "I noticed. Shields are holding." The keeper looked towards Forte Gillian. "They should." Helios fired again. The second impact shook the ancient vessel. Lights flickered across the bridge. Tarek grabbed the console. The keeper remained standing. The beam faded. The Great Hunt continued. Tarek checked the readings. Still holding. The keeper smiled faintly. This ship had been built for another kind of war. It had hunted darkness itself, compared with what the Great Hunt had faced before. Helios was merely powerful. The weapon charged a third time. Tarek saw it. Again, the keeper looked through the forward windows. Let it. Helios fired. The third blast struck. The Great Hunt disappeared inside blue-white fire. Its shields flared across kilometers of hull. The ship shuddered. Ancient armor groaned. Then, the beam ended. The Great Hunt emerged, scarred, burning in places, but still coming, still on course, still very much alive. Tarek stared at the damage readings, then towards the keeper. "She's had worse?" The keeper looked around the ancient bridge. Much worse. Ahead of them, Forte Gillian filled the view. The keeper reached towards the weapons controls. For countless generations, the Great Hunt had waited. Its purpose had been forgotten. Its enemy had vanished. But one weapon aboard it had been built to do something no ordinary weapon could. Not destroy, not explode, not kill. capture. The Keeper looked towards the Helios cannon. Let's see if this still works. Inside Forte Gillian, Inferno moved quickly through the corridors. The smith followed, one arm wrapped tightly around his child. The fortress shook again. Distant weapons' fire echoed through the walls. They rounded a corner and found themselves facing half a dozen armed pirates. Weapons immediately rose. Captain Trick stepped forward. Halt! Who goes there? Inferno stopped. He looked at the weapons, then at Trick. Where is everyone? Trick frowned. Everyone. Dorn, the Keeper, Ky-Nair. Recognition crossed Trick's face. He lowered his weapon. Dorn's aboard Ramses. Another vibration traveled through the fortress. Dust fell from the ceiling. Trick glanced upwards. Currently being shot at by some bloody great superweapon these crazy monks have built. Inferno looked towards the ceiling. So that's what that was. Trick gestured towards the pirates behind him. We're taking our fort back. He looked Inferno up and down. You want to help? Inferno smiled. I've already dealt with the important crazy monk. Trick stared at him. Inferno raised one hand. A portal opened. Beyond it, the bridge of Ramses. The smith looked through. Is it safe? Inferno considered the question. Another Helios blast illuminated the space beyond the portal. Alarms screamed aboard the battleship. Inferno shrugged. Probably. He stepped through. The smith looked at his child, then at Captain Trick. Trick nodded towards the portal. I'd go with him. The smith and his child hurried through. Inferno looked back at Trick. Good luck with your fort. Trick smiled. He raised his weapon. Good luck with your war. The portal closed. For a moment, Trick stared at the empty space where it had been, then turned towards his pirates. Right. Weapons were raised. Where were we? The pirates surged forward. Aboard the Great Hunt, warning lights faded across the ancient bridge. The ship had survived 3 direct strikes from Helios, scarred, damaged, but still advancing. Tarek stared at the readings. How many more of those can we take? The Keeper looked towards Forte Gillian. Let's not find out. He moved across the bridge. Ancient controls illuminated beneath his hands. One system remained separate from every conventional weapon aboard. Tarek noticed it. What's that? The Keeper paused. The reason this ship exists. He activated the system. Deep within the Great Hunt, machinery that had remained dormant for generations began to wake. A low vibration traveled through the enormous vessel. Tarek watched unfamiliar symbols appear across the display. I thought this ship was built to hunt darkness. It was. The Keeper studied the ancient controls. But you cannot easily destroy something that doesn't properly belong in our universe. Another system came online. So they stopped trying to destroy it. Tarek stepped closer. What did they do? The Keeper looked towards him. They caught it. Tarek stared. The Keeper continued. This is a temporal displacement weapon. The old translation calls it the Darkness Harpoon. Tarek looked around as though expecting something enormous and pointed to emerge from the ship. Harpoon? The Keeper looked at Tarek. There's no actual harpoon. The young apprentice looked back at the controls. Good. The Keeper almost smiled. It locks onto a target, tears it from its position in space, and forces it to another predetermined location. Tarek's expression changed. The prison world. The Keeper nodded. That's how darkness was taken there. For a moment, Tarek simply looked around the bridge. The ancient flagship suddenly felt very different. The Great Hunt had not merely fought darkness. It had captured it. Outside, Helios began charging again. Blue-white energy gathered within the enormous cannon. The Keeper activated the targeting system. Ancient sensors reached towards Fort Gillian. Helios appeared on the display. A lock began to form around it. Tarek watched, then frowned. The prison world doesn't exist anymore. The Keeper glanced towards him. No. It was destroyed with the darkness. Tarek looked at the coordinates appearing across the ancient display, then towards Helios. So, where will that go? The Keeper studied the destination. The same coordinates the Great Hunt had used generations before. Coordinates that once led to a world built to contain darkness. Now, there was nothing there. The Keeper looked at Tarek. Same place. Tarek stared at him. There's nothing there. The Keeper smiled. Precisely. Helios reached full charge. The cannon fired. Blue-white energy tore towards the Great Hunt. The Keeper didn't move. The ancient targeting system completed its lock. For the second time in eons. The Darkness Harpoon was ready. The Keeper placed his hand over the firing control. Let's put it back to work. He fired. There was no projectile, no missile, no beam for a fraction of a second. Nothing appeared to happen. Then space around the Helios cannon distorted. The enormous weapon twisted within its emplacement, light bent around it. The stars behind Forte Gillian seemed to stretch. The cannon fired again, but the beam never completed its journey. Helios began to disappear, not piece by piece. All at once, the entire weapon folded into the distortion. The surrounding structure buckled towards it. Then, space snapped back into place. Helios was gone. No explosion, no wreckage, no cannon. Only an enormous empty emplacement remained on the surface of Fort Gillian. Across the battlefield, weapons fell silent. On Ramses, Dorn stared through the forward windows. Mills stared from the battered bridge of Duelist. Union crews watched their tactical displays. Pirates inside Fort Gillian felt the tremendous vibration suddenly cease. The superweapon that had destroyed Titan, that had destroyed Goliath, that had killed thousands, had simply vanished. Far across the galaxy, there was nothing. No world, no moon, no station. Only empty space surrounding coordinates that had once marked one of the most dangerous places in existence. For countless years, a prison world had occupied that point. Then darkness had escaped. The singularity had consumed it. Now, the coordinates marked nothing at all. Space distorted, light bent, and with absolutely nobody there to witness it. The Helios cannon appeared, intact, powered, operational, pointing into the endless dark. Its targeting system searched nothing. No Union fleet, no pirates, no Forte Gillian. No targets at all. Helios, the most powerful weapon the Order of the Night had ever created, floated uselessly in empty space. Aboard the Great Hunt, Tarek stared at the empty emplacement on Forte Gillian. Then at the Keeper. Did we just win? The Keeper looked across the battlefield. Pirate ships, Union vessels, Ramses, the burning remains of Goliath. Forte Gillian. He shook his head. No. Tarek's smile faded. The Keeper looked towards the fortress. But they just lost their biggest gun. Aboard Ramses, the bridge remained fixed on the impossible sight outside. Helios was gone. The Great Hunt hung beyond Forte Gillian. Then, a portal opened. Everyone turned. Inferno stepped through. Behind him came the smith, his child held tightly beside him. The portal closed. Silence. Inferno looked around. Dorn, Kaelis, Cassian, Seraya. Then, Ky-Nair. Inferno stopped. He looked at the old monk. Something was different, very different. Inferno could feel it. His eyes narrowed. What happened to you? Ky-Nair rested one hand on the sword of the falling star. Long story. Inferno considered him. He remembered fighting Ky-Nair. Remembered exactly how difficult the old monk had been without the slightest trace of chosen power. Inferno looked towards Seraya. Then Cassian, then back to Ky-Nair. 3 with him, 4. For perhaps the first time in his life, Inferno appeared to make a genuinely sensible tactical decision. He smiled politely. You look well. Ky-Nair smiled back. Thank you. Dorn stared between them, then towards Cassian, then Seraya, then Inferno, then Ky-Nair. How many of you are there now? Cassian looked around the bridge. Even he seemed slightly unsettled by the answer. 4 chosen, together, something that generations had feared, something wars had been fought to prevent, and somehow, they had all ended up aboard a stolen Union battleship commanded by pirates. Inferno looked towards Kaelis. She was staring at him. He smiled. Guess she won't be joining us. Kaelis' expression changed. She understood immediately. No one asked how. Perhaps nobody wanted to. Inferno looked towards the windows. The Great Hunt dominated the battlefield beyond. What's that? Dorn folded his arms. Apparently something else? We're not allowed to steal. Inferno looked at him, then towards the enormous ancient vessel. A smile slowly appeared. Dorn saw it. Don't. Inferno said nothing. Dorn pointed at him. Seriously. Ky-Nair looked between them. Seraya shook her head. For the first time since the battle began, there was almost laughter on the bridge. Then the smith stepped forward. Dorn saw the child beside him. His expression softened, only slightly, but enough. The smith looked at Dorn. You left me. Dorn nodded. You wouldn't stop talking about your child. The smith stared at him. Dorn looked towards the child, then back at the smith. Seems to have worked out. Inferno smiled. I found them. Dorn looked at him. Of course you did. Outside, Forte Gillian still burned, but the Helios cannon was gone. Geshiroshi was dead. The portal blockers were destroyed, and aboard Ramses stood 4 chosen, not fighting one another. For once, all looking towards the same enemy. Inside Forte Gillian, Captain Trick was losing ground. The pirates had driven the Order from the docking levels for a time. It had seemed the fortress was theirs again. Then the remaining monks regrouped. They came from the deeper levels in numbers. Disciplined, organized, and furious. Trick ducked behind a bulkhead as energy fire tore through the corridor. Pirates returned fire. A monk charged through it. Another followed. Trick raised his weapon. "Hold this corridor!" The pirates tried, but slowly they were being pushed back. Forte Gillian was not theirs yet. Aboard Ramses, reports from inside the asteroid filled the bridge. Cassian looked towards Seraya. Trick needs help. Ky-Nair looked through the forward windows. The great hunt hung beyond them. He smiled. "I'll get the others." Seraya looked at him. Ky-Nair raised one hand for the first time. Deliberately, he reached beyond Lumina, beyond the world that had chosen him. Space opened. A portal appeared on the other side. The bridge of the great hunt. Ky-Nair looked at it, then smiled. Well, that's useful. He stepped through. The keeper turned. For several seconds he simply stared. Tarek saw Ky-Nair, and his face erupted into a grin. "You're alive!" He ran towards him. Ky-Nair laughed as Tarek threw his arms around him. The keeper followed. There were no grand words. He simply embraced his old friend. Ky-Nair held on to him. For a moment, the battle disappeared. The keeper stepped back, looked Ky-Nair up and down. "You look better." Ky-Nair smiled. "Apparently I am." Tarek looked between them. "How?" Ky-Nair raised one hand. A portal opened beside him. Both of them stared. Ky-Nair's smile widened. "Long story." Then he looked through the opening. Forte Gillian. Gunfire. Pirates being forced backwards through the corridors. Ky-Nair looked at the keeper and Tarek. "Come on, you two?" He nodded towards the portal. "You're needed on the fort." The keeper smiled and picked up his staff. Ky-Nair stepped through. The keeper followed. Tarek jumped after them, armed with 2 swords of fallen steel. The portal closed. The bridge of the Great Hunt was empty. Aboard Ramses, Seraya opened another portal. Forte Gillian appeared beyond it. Cassian stepped towards the opening. Kaelis joined him. Seraya looked around. Inferno? Inferno was standing beside Dorn. "Coming." Seraya nodded. She stepped through. Cassian followed. Kaelis hesitated for only a moment, then followed them. The portal closed. Silence returned to the bridge. Dorn looked at Inferno. Inferno looked at Dorn. Neither moved. Several seconds passed. Dorn glanced towards the crew, then towards the enormous ancient vessel hanging outside. The Great Hunt. Inferno followed his gaze. "We're not going to Forte Gillian, are we?" Dorn slowly smiled. Eventually, Inferno smiled back. Space opened. A portal formed before them. Not onto Forte Gillian,
onto the deserted bridge of the Great Hunt. Dorn looked through ancient controls, an enormous command deck, a ship capable of surviving Helios, a ship capable of capturing darkness, a ship unlike anything else in the galaxy. Inferno looked at Dorn. You said we weren't allowed to steal it. Dorn stepped towards the portal. We're pirates. He walked through. Inferno laughed and followed.
Inside Forte Gillian, Captain Trick was running out of corridor. The remaining monks advanced together. Pirates fired from behind shattered bulkheads, but the order kept coming. Disciplined, relentless. Trick ducked as a blade struck the wall beside him. "Hold them!" The pirates tried. Then, a portal opened behind them. Ky-Nair stepped through, the keeper followed. Tarek came last. Across his back were two newly forged swords of the falling star. Weapons taken during their escape from the prison. Trick looked around, about bloody time. Ky-Nair smiled. He drew the original sword of the falling star. The keeper lowered his bow staff. Tarek reached over both shoulders and drew the two younger blades. Blue light filled the corridor. The monks stopped. Then, another portal opened. Seraya stepped through. Cassian followed. And finally, Kaelis! The reaction was immediate. The remaining members of the Order stared at her. Kaelis walked forward. Enough! Nobody moved. Geshi is dead. Helios is gone. The portal blockers are destroyed. She looked along the line of monks. People she had trained beside, fought beside. People who had believed everything she had believed. It's over. One of the senior monks stepped forward. Not while the chosen lived. Kaelis looked towards Seraya, Cassian, then Ky-Nair. Hours earlier, those words would have meant something very different now. She had stood upon Lumina. She had watched Seraya use extraordinary power not to conquer, but to save. She had watched Ky-Nair become the very thing she had been taught to fear. And somehow, he was still Ky-Nair. Kaelis looked back at the monks. "Look around you." Her voice remained calm. "Thousands are dead. Goliath is destroyed. Forte Gillian is burning." She shook her head. "This isn't balance." The senior monk raised his sword. "You have forgotten what Safin became." Kaelis' expression hardened. "No." She looked around at the devastation. "I've remembered why. We were supposed to stop it happening again." Silence. Then Kaelis lowered her voice. "Surrender." Nobody moved. For one brief moment, Tarek watched her. Not the warrior who had ambushed them on sky and sand. Not the woman who had defeated Ky-Nair. Something had changed. He wasn't entirely sure what, but he found himself staring a little longer than necessary. The keeper noticed. Of course he noticed. He glanced sideways at his apprentice. Tarek immediately looked forward. The keeper said nothing. There were, after all, more pressing matters. One of the monks raised his blade, then another. Across the corridor, the remaining order prepared to fight. Kaelis closed her eyes, just for a moment. When they opened, there was sadness, but no hesitation. She reached for her weapons, then stopped. Her hands were empty. Tarek looked down at the two falling star swords in his hands. Then towards Kaelis. He understood. He reversed one of the blades and held it towards her. Kaelis looked at him, then at the sword. She took it. Their eyes met briefly. "Thank you." Tarek smiled. "Try not to lose it." Kaelis almost smiled back. Almost. Ky-Nair noticed. The Keeper definitely noticed. Tarik suddenly became extremely interested in the monks ahead. Kaelis stepped beside him, one falling star blade in each of their hands. Beside them, Ky-Nair raised the original. The Keeper readied his bow staff. Captain Trick and his pirates raised their weapons. Seraya and Cassian stood behind them. Trick looked towards the Order. Last chance. The senior monk attacked. The Order followed. Kaelis raised her sword. Tarik raised his. And together, they charged. The Order charged. They never stood a chance. Ky-Nair moved first. The old monk crossed the corridor with a speed Tarik had never seen before. The original sword of the falling star met the first attack, turned it aside, then sent its owner crashing into the wall. A second monk attacked. Ky-Nair moved again, faster, far faster than he expected. The monk's weapon spun from his hand. Ky-Nair stopped. He looked down at himself. Oh, the Keeper laughed. Showing off already? Then everyone moved. Kaelis knew the Order. Every stance, every feint, every movement drilled into them through years of training. Now, she used that knowledge against them. Beside her, Tarik fought with the second falling star blade. For a few seconds they moved almost together, matching blue steel flashing through the corridor. Tarik noticed. So did Kaelis. Neither mentioned it. The Keeper certainly noticed. His bow staff swept the legs from beneath another monk. Captain Trick's pirates surged through the opening. The Order's formation broke. One monk escaped the pirates and charged Cassian. A mistake. Cassian stepped aside, caught the attack and sent him sprawling across the floor. Another tried to flank Ky-Nair. Seraya raised one hand. A portal opened beneath him. The monk vanished. A second opening appeared several meters away, directly above Captain Trick. The monk dropped through it and crashed onto the floor at his feet. Trick looked down, unlucky. Then the pirates piled in. The battle lasted barely another minute. Some of the Order fell. Others were disarmed, weapons scattered across the corridor. The few still standing looked around. Ky-Nair, Seraya, Cassian, the Keeper, Kaelis, Tarik, Captain Trick, and dozens of extremely enthusiastic pirates. Finally, a sword hit the floor. Then another, the last of the resistance collapsed. Silence returned to the corridor. Trick slowly looked around, at the defeated Order, at the Chosen, at the warriors who had apparently appeared from nowhere and ended a battle his pirates had been fighting for considerably longer. He lowered his weapon. Well, Trick looked towards Seraya, then Ky-Nair, then the portal still glowing behind them. That went better than expected. The Keeper rested his bow staff against his shoulder. Ky-Nair looked towards Kaelis. She stood silently amongst the defeated members of her Order. It was over. Not the Order itself, not its history, not everything it had once stood for. But Geshi's control of Forte Gillian was finished. Around them, pirates began securing prisoners. Captain Trick opened a channel. His voice traveled throughout the fortress. All decks. This is Captain Trick. He looked around at the battered corridors of the place they called home, then smiled. Fort Gillian is ours. Across the asteroid, pirates cheered. The fighting was over. Across Fort Gillian, weapons were lowered. Pirates secured the remaining members of the Order. outside. The surviving Union fleet held position, for the first time in what felt like hours. Nobody was firing. Cassian opened a channel. "Captain Amian." The reply came almost immediately. "Yes, chosen?" Cassian looked towards the battlefield. "Stand the fleet down." A pause. "Understood." Cassian smiled. "Oh, and Amian?" "Yes, chosen?" "Feel free to board Ramses." He glanced towards the stolen Union battleship floating beyond the fort. "We have your ship back." "Gladly." The channel closed. The keeper lowered his bow staff, then frowned. He looked around. Ky-Nair, Tarik, Kaelis, Seraya, Cassian, Trick, pirates. His expression changed. "Where's Dorn?" Seraya looked up at him. Then she realized something else. More importantly, she looked around. "Where's Inferno?" Silence. The keeper slowly turned towards the opening overlooking the battlefield. His eyes widened. Across the darkness, the great hunt moved. The enormous ancient flagship began turning to port. Slowly at first, then faster. Her colossal engines illuminated one after another. Ancient power surged through kilometers of hull. The keeper stared. Oh no. Aboard the great hunt, Dorn sat comfortably in the command chair. His crew spread across the enormous bridge. Inferno stood beside the Nova Drive controls. He looked down. There were rather a lot of them. Then he spotted something familiar. A very large lever. Inferno pointed. "This one, Dorn?" Dorn looked across. "Yes, Inferno." He grinned. "The big lever, pull it." Inferno wrapped his hand around it, then stopped. He looked towards Dorn. "I could just portal us." Dorn stared at him. The grin spread from one side of his face to the other. "Where's the fun in that?" Inferno smiled. "Fair point." He pulled the lever. Deep within the great hunt, the Nova Drive came alive. Outside, space began to distort on Forte Gillian. The keeper watched helplessly. Ky-Nair stepped beside him. Tarik joined them. Seraya stared. Cassian slowly closed his eyes. Kaelis looked from them to the departing ship. Captain Trick began to laugh. The keeper sighed. He stole the great hunt. Ky-Nair considered this. Technically, nobody was using it. The keeper looked at him. Ky-Nair smiled. Across the battlefield, the great hunt's engines burned brighter. Space folded around the ancient vessel. And just like that, the largest ship any pirate had ever stolen was gone. Weeks passed. Ships were recovered. The wounded returned home. And across the Union, questions were asked. The events surrounding Forte Gillian had lasted little more than a week. Yet in that time, the Union had suffered losses greater than anyone had imagined possible. Titan and Goliath were both gone. Admiral Maki was gone. Thousands of naval officers, engineers, and moon guards had been killed. A weapon capable of destroying the Union's greatest warships had been constructed without its knowledge. A secret order had infiltrated worlds, institutions, and fleets. And for a brief time, The Union had discovered just how vulnerable it truly was. On Aurelis, the Union Parliament assembled. Every world was represented. The chamber was full. Cassian stood at its center, Seraya beside him. Around them, delegates argued over what came next. More ships, better intelligence, stronger defenses, greater oversight of classified technology. Some demanded a permanent Union military command. Others warned that concentrating still more power was precisely what had brought them here. Cassian listened. For once, he didn't interrupt. Then a voice rose from amongst the delegates. Chosen. The chamber quietened. Cassian looked towards the speaker. For the briefest moment, surprise crossed his face. Then, a smile. The Union recognizes the delegate from Fort Gillian. Seraya glanced towards Cassian. Cassian continued. What's your suggestion, Admiral Mills? Commodore Mills stood. He smiled. On sky and sand, the desert wind moved gently across Avalon. Ky-Nair stood overlooking the city. The sword of the falling star rested at his side. He looked much as he always had, old, weathered, calm, yet everything had changed. Behind him, the Keeper and Tarek approached. Ky-Nair turned. Tarek stopped before his master. For once, the young man seemed almost nervous. Ky-Nair looked at him for a long moment, then smiled. You've passed your apprenticeship. Tarek stared. I have? Eventually. The Keeper laughed. Tarek looked mildly offended. Ky-Nair turned towards his old friend. The Keeper's amusement disappeared when he realized Ky-Nair was now looking at him. And you? The Keeper straightened. Ky-Nair stepped closer. For generations, the Keeper had watched the gates, protected them, built them, fought for them, then watched them disappear. Yet when everything was lost, he had remained. Ky-Nair smiled. Welcome to the Avalonian Order. For once, the Keeper had nothing clever to say. He simply bowed his head. Ky-Nair looked towards Tarek, then back at the Keeper. His smile widened. Your first apprentice. The Keeper's expression changed. Tarek's did too. Wait. The Keeper looked at Tarek. Tarek looked at the Keeper. Him? They both spoke at exactly the same time. Ky-Nair laughed, then turned away. Behind him, the argument had already started. I thought I'd finished being an apprentice. You finished being his apprentice. That's not the same thing. Not remotely. Their voices faded as they walked towards Avalon. Ky-Nair smiled to himself. Some traditions were worth keeping. Then he felt someone approaching. He turned. Kaelis stood several meters away, alone. No armor of the order, no monks beside her. For perhaps the first time in her life, no Geshe Roshi telling her where she belonged. Ky-Nair waited. Kaelis approached. Her eyes briefly moved towards the sword of the falling star at his side. It suits you better. Ky-Nair looked down at the ancient blade. I thought so. Kaelis smiled. A small one, but genuine. She stopped beside him. Together they looked towards Avalon. What happens to the order now? Ky-Nair asked. Kaelis was silent for a moment. I don't know. It was perhaps the first time she had ever allowed herself to say those words. Ky-Nair nodded. Good. Kaelis looked at him. Good? Certainty caused quite enough trouble. Kaelis considered that, then looked back towards the city. Do you still believe the Chosen are dangerous? She expected him to defend them. He didn't. Yes. Kaelis turned towards him. Ky-Nair continued. So are King's army's ideas. He looked at her. Fear can be dangerous too. Kaelis lowered her eyes. For a moment, Geshe's words seemed very far away. Then Ky-Nair started walking towards Avalon. After several steps, he realized Kaelis hadn't moved. He looked back. Come in. Kaelis stared towards the city, a place belonging to an order her own had abandoned generations ago. Then towards Ky-Nair. Where are we going? Ky-Nair smiled. I haven't decided yet. Kaelis almost laughed. Of course he hadn't. She walked after him, then alongside him. Together, Ky-Nair and Kaelis followed the road towards Avalon. Not master and student, not enemies, not yet anything that required a name. Behind them lay the ruins of old certainties. Ahead, the city waited, and somewhere beyond the stars, a pirate captain had just stolen the largest ship in the known galaxy. Ky-Nair smiled. The galaxy, it seemed, was going to remain interesting. Somewhere, very far from Union space, the great hunt hung motionless against the stars. Ahead of her, a neutron star. Tiny, brilliant, impossible. Its magnetic field screamed across space as the ancient flagship edged closer. On the bridge, Inferno stared through the viewing screen. Dorn. Yes, that's a neutron star. Dorn sat comfortably in the command chair. I know. Inferno looked at him. You want me to open a portal inside it? Near it. How near? Dorn considered this. Very. Inferno stared at him. Why? Dorn turned towards the enormous ancient system surrounding them. Do you have any idea what neutron star material is worth? Inferno thought about it. No. Dorn grinned. Neither do I. A pause. But I imagine it's quite a lot. Inferno looked back at the neutron star. Then at Dorn. Slowly, he smiled. This is an extremely bad idea. Dorn leaned back in the command chair. That's why I brought you. Inferno laughed. He raised his hand. Darkness gathered around his fingers. Space began to tear open. Somewhere deep within the great hunt, alarms immediately started sounding. Dorn frowned. What's that? Inferno shrugged. Probably nothing.